If it's one thing I hate, it's dual character development. And what I mean by this is simply when two different philosophies are taken to develop two different types of characters. For example, in a movie, someone may develop the protagonists by simply giving them more screen time and more monologuing to further develop their character, as opposed to the antagonist who gets one song and you pretty much know that guy's evil by the fact that he's wearing black. And this, especially in film, has been a constant annoyance as of late because of the lack of consistency within even the most simple movies to govern their universes by the same rules. It's what makes actually films like Frozen stand out to me, because you actually have a situation where both the antagonists and protagonists get these fleshed out motives that make you not necessarily dislike the antagonist over the protagonist or whatever, but you understand where everyone comes from. Well, the one thing that I felt was safe in all this was video games. Even in games that I hate, like Borderlands and Grand Theft Auto 5, these characters are all governed by the same sort of set of principles. Either they're all really tacky and overly cliche, or they're all dicks, or they're all overly sweet. These sorts of things, they give a game tone, they give a game their defining feel, and there's really not much room to get away with shit. That is until Mortal Kombat X. Now, fighting games have always been somewhat, well, let's say, bizarre. Fighting Adonises, if you will, with Mortal Kombat not being unlike the rest of them. They always have had sort of the more unrealistically portrayed women with scantily clad costumes, with men who normally have taken a bunch of steroids with their shirts off, and everyone has extra arms, and all these sorts of unique character designs that make their characters actually unique. Well, in Mortal Kombat X, half of this is changing at least, with the female figures specifically getting redesigns, where they're more realistic, they're more covered up. Only when you consider what they're saying here, that they're portraying specifically women more realistically, they're keeping the men, I've seen the trailers, and they're keeping the men absolutely the same, keeping them shirtless, giving them extra arms, making them, steroid infused. They're not naturalistic in the least bit. So the fact that only women now are getting covered up and are getting more realistic waistlines and everything really does perturb me, because now all of a sudden there is a character duality between the way that men are developed in the Mortal Kombat series and the way women are developed in the Mortal Kombat series. This is just strikingly SJW of them, and not really caring about one half of their population. In fact, the bigger half of their population. Now, one could argue that men haven't been complaining about these designs, and to a degree that's true. But also, women haven't been complaining about the designs of the females either. The people who have been SJWs and feminists who don't necessarily buy the game, and really, I'm not convinced that they would buy the game even with realistic female figures, due to the fact that there's a lot of violence, there's a lot of cliches, and it does appropriate a lot of culture. These sorts of things do not sound like Gone Home, if you catch my drift. So it really is just a foolish decision on part of Mortal Kombat 10 to be making this choice. Either do it for everyone, because apparently everyone's a pussy who can't stand fantasy, or don't do it for anyone. Be like Dead or Alive or Rockstar and just stick to your guns. Stick to what made you successful in the first place. Because when it comes down to it, all you're really ensuing is that women are so weak and self-conscious that they can't stand fantasy figures. Great job, Mortal Kombat 10, on making the stupidest decision ever. This has been Robert Stoll of the Stoll Review. If you like my content, please consider sharing and liking this video. Also comment with any criticisms or suggestions for future content. Thank you so much for watching and have a nice day.